We have a quorum. I need a motion to go into closed session, please.
So moved.
It's been moved. It's been seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. We'll go into closed session until 5:25. Need a motion to reconvene into open session, please.
So moved.
It's been moved.
I'll second.
Second, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 500. Pledge of Allegiance first, please. Flag is over there. Ready? Begin. Before we adopt the agenda, I know some folks may have noticed that public comment's been moved to the end of the meeting. There's 3 reasons for that tonight. One reason is staff stripped down the agenda to only things that we have to get done by as board business tonight, and there's really not much else. 1. 2. If we leave public comment where it's normally at, we're in jeopardy of not finishing board business, but also we might be limiting public comment to 20 minutes, and I'm guessing from the community stakeholder input that we've heard from so far, that would be unacceptable. Also, for those that don't know this, we have a student performance holiday concert across the river at Buena Vista at 7 o'clock. Some folks may want to leave in time to catch that. So, with that, we're going to have all the slips that are in right now. Every one of them will be heard tonight. We're not going to limit public comment. We're going to stay here and hear it all. The board wants to hear it all. So we're going to try to get through the business that we need to do as quickly as we can. We still have some things we have to do. As you'll see, if you've never been to one of these before or watched one before, we have some things we have to do every December. And so we're going to show you that before we get to the public comment part of the meeting. With that, I'd love to entertain a motion on the agenda, please.
So moved.
It's been moved.
I'll second.
It's been seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Motion carries 500. Annual organization of the governing board, election of board officers. Every year, newly elected officers shall serve a one-term appointment up to the next organizational meeting of December 2022. Upon conclusion of the election for the office of president, the duly elected president immediately assumes office and conducts the remainder of the meeting. With that, we're going to go to D1 and entertain nominations for president of the board.
Steve, I'd like to nominate actually all 3 of our officers to remain in their same roles with their permission, and vote on all 3 as a block.
Okay, you want to combine all 3. So your nomination is to retain Steve McDougall as president, Jen Cato as vice president, and who's the clerk these days?
Michael.
And Michael as the clerk of the board. Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Any other nominations? I'll ask a couple times. Are there any other nominations? One more time. Are there any nominations? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Motion carries 500. I guess we don't need to change seats.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Establishment of regular board meeting day and time. We have been doing the first Thursdays, which works most of the time except in December.
Yeah.
Are we interested in maintaining that same meeting day and time?
I move that we keep the same date and time.
Which is, just for the record, is the first Thursday with closed session commencing at 6:30 and open session on or about 7 p.m. or thereafter. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And that motion, I'm an aye as well. Motion carries 500. Board member committee assignments for the next year. We have 5 we need to fill with both one board member and one alternate. In a perfect world, one alternate. We usually have alternates, but not always. How about the educational foundation liaison? Is there someone who would like to serve in that role?
I'll do it.
All righty. We have Jen Cotto.
Are you doing that now, Jeff?
I believe so.
How about an alternate? Staff is writing it down too.
Yes.
Do we have an alternate for that?
Oh, Jen's all.
Okay. PTO and Bobcat Club liaison. I need a board member for that.
I can do it.
All
I'm
right.
currently doing it.
Oh, yeah, okay. How about an alternate?
I'll alternate.
Thank you. LCAP committee.
I'm currently on it.
Would you like to remain there?
Sure.
And the alternate, I think, is myself,
Correct.
Yeah.
and I'll stay there. School Boards Association. I know who's doing it now.
I can do it again.
You want to continue?
Sure.
Okay. And I'll be the alternate. Is that still the case? Okay. And then the Buena Vista Equity Committee Board representative.
I'll continue.
Okay.
I'll
And
continue.
the alternate is Stephanie. No motion there? Okay. Announcement of actions taken in closed session. There were none. Do we have any board recognition tonight? Bargaining units, Spreckels Teachers Association. Anybody from Spreckels Teachers Association?
We appreciate the continued collaborative relationship between STA and the district. As we wrap up 2021, there is much to celebrate. Students are acquiring knowledge and honing skills district-wide. The bridging program has launched, supporting kids after school with customized and targeted tutoring in areas of need. Sports are back. Current student athletes are playing basketball. Music is back. In fact, Spreckels and BB Band is performing tonight at BB. The choir will perform tomorrow night also at BB, both at 7 p.m. Leadership is back. Spreckels Student Council and BB ASB are conducting holiday drives this month. It feels good to be back. While we are all looking forward to winter break, we also look forward to the new year. Thank you again for your ongoing support and happy holidays. Thank you so much.
Do you have anybody from CSEA here tonight to speak? CSEA?
Oh.
Yeah, sorry, you need to come to the mic so folks can hear you out there in cyberspace, right? I understand.
Good evening. It'll be short and sweet. I just want to say thank you for for collaboratively working with us in the district on behalf of our classified staff. One thing I do want to mention is that there are some of us that aren't in the forefront. Bus drivers are out in front. Aides are out in front. There are some that are behind the scenes that work equally as hard and don't always get the verbal recognition. So I want to thank everybody for that. And in all of these trying times that you guys face as a board, we appreciate your constant support in our classified staff. Thank you.
Board member comments. I'll start down at the end with Mike.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment. First of all, I am probably will be one of those people that will leave at 7 o'clock. It's my son's birthday today, and he's playing trumpet in the band concert, so I'd like to see that. I promised him. So if I don't get to hear your public comments, I apologize, and I will follow up with our superintendent to get those views. I would like to comment on the GSA article published last month. Before I do that, however, I want to frame how in my role as a member of the board, I approach decision making. First, I maintain that the role of this school board is to ensure the district is responsive to the values, beliefs, and priorities of the Spreckels community. Second, I evaluate any decision considering how the decision in question will further the mission and vision of the district. Both the mission and vision are printed on the first page of this meeting's agenda. In particular, I think about the diverse needs of all students, empowering them to flourish both academically and social emotionally. I also consider how this decision aligns with the core values of compassion, kindness, and respect. I'll also add that I have additional role, as I mentioned before, as a proud parent of a student attending Spreckels School. So the decisions here directly impact my family. With that being said, I support the district's current response to the audio recording described in the article published by Abigail Schreier on November 18, 2021. I want this board and the community to know that the author of this article frames the issues facing transgender youth in terms of a war. We are not at war here. Everyone loses in a war. War is completely contrary to our core values of compassion, kindness, and respect. I believe we as a district should do everything we can to support, protect, and be inclusive of all the district's LGBTQ students. We need understanding. I am hopeful a third-party investigation will provide a clear picture of the circumstances surrounding the UBU Club and how it was run. That any subsequent action should be responsive to the values, beliefs, and priorities of the Spreckels community. I also want to add that the schools in the district need to be transparent about what is happening at their sites and provide parents a way to easily opt out their children of any non-required activities. This is the only way to build trust is through transparency. I know transparency is not always easy, but it's the only way we can fulfill our mission of empowering our students to flourish when we have a partnership based on trust between parents and the district. As we navigate this situation, I hope we can adhere to the values of compassion, kindness, and respect. I also want to remind everyone how hard the teachers, staff, and administrators work to fulfill this district's mission day in and day out. I certainly appreciate and continue to support the work they are doing. Please don't let this situation overshadow all the good work this district does. That concludes my comments. Thank you.
Chris?
I was going to say what Mike just said, but since he already said it so well, let me say that I'm actually gratified to see so many people here concerned with the education processes that go on in our district, and I wish it didn't take something contentious to bring all of you folks out. This is good stuff that we're doing here, and the school district's very important. School district at its heart is a learning and teaching organization, and today we're here to learn from each other and hear each other, and I think I want to just remind all of us some words that probably will resonate with all the teachers. Don't call names. Listen to each other the way that you would want to be listened to. And don't always think that you know what anybody else is thinking. Just say what you say. Make your case as clearly as you can. And then we'll let somebody else talk. And we'll listen and we'll learn from each other. Thanks.
Stephanie?
Sure, and just following on what both of the previous trustees have said, I'm grateful to see so many people here tonight being engaged and letting their voice be heard. And I just want to stress, my commitment to the support and safety of all of our students, and in fact, all of our Spreckels community. And I will continue to work to ensure equity for all of our students, both academically and social emotionally, and including continuing to work to strengthen our district and our capacity to meet the needs of all youth and really propel them towards success.
And Jen?
Okay, I too would like to echo what has previously been said. Since all of this came about, A thing that has been just repeating in my brain is Mrs. Sherpinski always says Spreckels strong. And I believe in our community. I believe in Spreckels strong. I believe that we have to come together. That has just been over and over in my mind. And I wanted to think about, well, I've been thinking a lot about why I'm on the board. Why am I here? And the main goal that I've always had was to support our students. My number one priority is our students. We had students ask if they could come tonight. I wasn't so sure about that. Do we want to all bring our children to the school board meeting tonight? Are we going to talk in a way that we would want our children to hear us, right? This has brought up so many conversations with my children. I believe I'm the only one here with a child at the Buena Vista School, right? I will reflect. I've been reflecting on our experiences. Our experience at Spreckels, our experience at Buena Vista has been good. We have had a good education, a great education. I always push for better because that's what we talk a lot about that. That's why I'm here. We can always be better. I want us to be better. That's what I strive for. So as a number one priority for our students, I know that our students, it's been said, how many times? We have a band concert tonight. My child is going to be in the band concert tonight. And so we had to talk about it. And I told her I'd be missing. I said, I expect there will be a lot of people here tonight. And I'm going to stay for all the comments because in order to make a decision when it's time, I feel like I need as much information as possible. I want to take in everybody's perspective. I want to digest it. I want to really, listen. And that's what I'll do tonight. And so if you can, please do go to the band concert tonight and let me know how my kid does. Okay? Okay. Thank you.
And for myself, much of my thoughts have already been communicated by my fellow board members already. And know this about this individual board member. Never take the easy way out. Work ethic is my legacy. Always has been and will continue to will be. It may not be the easy way. It may not be the best way, but we're going to do it right. We're going to do it within the law. And we're going to find out what we need to do moving forward once this independent investigation has concluded at that time and not before. And that's the way it's going to be if I'm going to be involved with it. That's all I had to say. Except for, have a good holiday. Please.
Yeah.
It's
Merry
this.
Christmas.
Yeah, sure, sure. However you celebrate it, do it.
Yeah.
And I'll say this: this year is not easier than 2020. It's a harder year on all of us, no matter who we are, where we are. It's been my experience, and hoping that 2022 is somewhat easier. But if it's not, this board will continue to do the work that needs to be done. And with that, that's it for board member comments. Now I leave it to the superintendent.
Yeah, I'll pick up there, Steve. This is usually the board meeting at which time I wish everybody happy holidays. Go check out the band performance. Although the sentiments are still true, I'm very aware that we're facing a crisis in the district. It's been an extremely difficult month for many, many people. There's a lot of emotion and division in this room, and we've heard from literally hundreds of people over the last couple of weeks who've expressed their feelings and concerns about the current situation. People in our community, people outside in California, people throughout the nation. We've heard from hundreds. As I'm sure you'll be evident tonight, these feelings and concerns reflect all possible perspectives on this situation, the entire spectrum of feelings. The district's addressing this situation is in an impartial, fact-finding way, using a third-party investigative firm out of Sacramento. Many people ask what the firm's name. It's called Van der Meiden Makis. It's too early to predict how long the investigation will last. I'd also like to make it clear that the district's absolutely committed to supporting all students, and especially our most vulnerable students and those affected directly by the situation. The UBU Club was not disbanded, as has been mistakenly reported. It was put on hold, technically suspended, while the investigation is carried out. We have begun reviewing our policies and exploring available resources regarding student clubs. As always, our goal is to make sure all students continue to have a safe place and are supported appropriately. In closing, we're living through incredibly difficult and divisive times. It seems like they get worse every month. It will take a commitment from everyone here in this community to help us heal and move forward as the exemplary district that we still are. With that said, happy holidays. Tonight, my holiday wish prayer is that we remember many of the values of the season, which include kindness, respect, and civility. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Buena Vista Middle School, Principal Pagaran.
Can you hear me? Within the past month, Buena Vista Middle School has been faced with repercussions of external events that have led to an investigative process. Because of this, tonight, I am unable to comment on any aspects related to the current situation. However, I would like to assure the board that Buena Vista Middle School is continuing to move forward in providing the best educational experience possible for all students. The goal of the site is to maintain its educational rigor while promoting a positive learning environment and space for all. The school is dedicated to supporting its students, its parents, its staff, and its community. With this, I would like to share what is currently happening at Buena Vista. Tonight, the BV band, which is actually comprises of 4th to 8th grade students, will be performing their holiday concert at 7 o'clock p.m. and hopefully it's not raining by the time they do it, but we are covered under the pavilion. The Spreckels Chorus and Buena Vista Choir will be performing their holiday concert tomorrow night in the Buena Vista Pavilion as well at 7 o'clock p.m. From hearing them in the morning and in the afternoon, this group, them practicing around campus, these concerts should be a wonderful student event for all. The Wellness Center, an inclusive environment for all students, has opened up an additional day on Fridays, and this is a space to provide a safe space for all students on campus. The Wellness Center hosts a variety of activities to include therapy dogs, board games, mindful coloring, and mental health resources. The center is run by our school counselor on Wednesday and myself on Fridays. Today we had a record high of 45 students that attended. ASB student leadership is up and running, and students are currently participating in a holiday spirit week. ASB is also promoting a canned food drive as a friendly homeroom competition. We are also excited to announce that ASB is planning and organizing its first school dance since the start of the pandemic. Please have students save the date for February 4th. Fall sports have ended with each team having many highlights throughout the season, including our 8th grade girls volleyball team that ended the season as MTJAL League champions, and they will have their congratulatory banner up on the gym wall soon. 6th, 7th, and 8th grade boys and girls basketball has now started and is underway. The Buena Vista Field project is making steady progress. While rain has recently slowed the project, we are starting to see the outlines of the whole project coming together. In the spring, we are excited to have the addition of 2 new wall ball courts, 2 4-square sections, 2 surface basketball courts, and an outdoor fitness center. We are currently in the 4th academic week of trimester 2. Students are completing assignments and activities just before we enter this well-deserved holiday break. Thank you.
Thank you. Spreckels Elementary School Principal Sherpinski.
Good evening. I'll keep it short and sweet. Thank you for sharing my most comfortable thing to say over the last few years, which is Spreckels Strong. Spreckels community has been through fires, floods, evacuations, COVID, and distance learning. And even though it is the best thing in the world that we are all back together, it's also not an easy year. We're getting used to school again. We're getting used to things that aren't quite the same. But we're moving forward Ms. Pagran mentioned quite a few things that are happening over at BV, and I'm proud to say that we are moving forward with lots of different activities also. You may notice that I have a little bit of pink in my hair. This was a challenge for our accelerated reader program. Our kiddos are at 150 million words already, and our wonderful custodian has blue hair, and I have a little pink. So who knows what they'll pick next? But Mr. Trollo, it is better than diving in the ocean, right? Yeah, we did that last year. So just really proud of them. The students are, how I feel, getting used to school again, getting used to the rhythm of it. The teachers are patient and kind and helping them along, working a lot, figuring out how to do it a different way to get everybody back in. We have a lot of kids that need support, both social, emotionally, and academically, and we have the bridging program, we have our counseling program, and just spending a lot of time together and continuing to build our community. And I just want to say, to remind you all, that at Spreckels School, we are bucket fillers, and I want to thank you for your service and fill your buckets with a happy holiday, and let's always remember to keep everybody's buckets filled up and put your lid on in case you need it.
Do we have anyone here from SUF tonight? We do.
Hello, my name is Michelle Mazuka, and I am president of SUF. For those of you who do not know, SUF raises money to fund the garden, library, art, and music programs within the district. I wanted to update everyone on how our fundraising has been going so far and what we have coming up next year. On behalf of SUF, I would like to thank all the families within our district that continue to support our fundraising efforts. We appreciate the support as the money raised goes to keep the programs we fund in our schools. Here's a rundown of what we have fundraised so far. The GLAM campaign, which is our year-round campaign, where we ask families to give $50 per student. As of today, we have made $1,870. The Possibility Family Dinner Fundraiser, where we had 83 families participate, brought in $1,660. Giving Tuesday, which was on November 30th and is simply a day of giving to nonprofits, brought in $1,025. We made $3,758 on our Holiday Seas Candy fundraiser. And our most recent fundraiser, which is the Polenta and Stew Family Dinner, where we partnered with Zero Brand, has sold 96 family meals. And this fundraiser's profit is yet to be determined. We are currently sitting at around $8,313 in revenue so far this year. And with expenditures, we have around $6,864 in profit. Looking to next year, we'll be having 2 more Possibility Family Dinners, and we are slated to have a hoedown. The hoedown needs a variety of people to help in order for it to be a success, and we would love to add new people to one of our many committees, and I encourage you to reach out to us if you're interested. Our general meetings are the second Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. here in Spreckels. We need to see some new faces to keep this organization moving forward. We have several board positions open next year, and I encourage everyone to come out to our meetings and see how you can help support our efforts. Thank you.
Wait, Michelle. I seem to have forgotten where to buy my ticket for that polenta.
That Polenta feed is closed. We sold
It's
out.
all closed. So what's the next one then?
It's going to be Possibilities the next Monday after or next Tuesday after 3-day weekend. So I think it's in January, maybe.
And I should keep an eye out in my email and then spread the word to my community? Thank you.
Awesome.
Do you have anybody from PTO tonight?
Hello. My name is Nina Haro Cordero. I'm the president of PTO. I'm really happy to see a crowd today because maybe we can rope in some volunteers. We're always looking for them. September, we had our largest fundraiser of the year, our gift wrap and cookie dough. We raised over $30,000, which is like a banner year for us. So super great. Thank you to all of our Spreckels families who supported us. We also had our first in-person book fair for students since COVID had started. It was a big success. We were very grateful to see the children in person exploring all the books. Thanks to some generous donations from our PTO board parents and some other Spreckels parents, we were able to provide every child with a book at this book fair. And we raised over $5,000 in profits for PTO. So that was wonderful. We're looking forward to a new year and hope to bring back Fitness Day, the Color Run, and a spring carnival. We are looking for interested volunteers to help. So if you're interested, our next meeting is January 18th at 7 o'clock in the Spreckels Auditorium. As always, we are really grateful for any support anybody can bring to us. We are always thin on volunteers. So now that I know you're all here, I expect to see everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. You've been heard. Thank you. How about Bobcat Club? Anybody from Bobcat Club tonight? Nobody? Okay. Moving on to business information, Education Protection Act actual expenditure by function report. Oh, my mic was on. Can I repeat that, Ryan? Okay. I'll try to leave it on more. I thought maybe mine was the one cracking though. I wasn't sure. Okay. Business information, report from staff on the 2021 Education Protection Act actual expenditures by function report. That was a mouthful, but that's what it is.
Thank you. This is information only. It represents all of the activity in the 2020-21 school year required by the language of Prop 30, which was passed in 2012. It is a source of revenue that can only be spent on the function of instruction, which represents teacher salaries. So we received $1.8 million from the revenue source, and we spent the entirety of the funding. This is the public recognition for the record that we met the requirements of Prop 30.
Any questions from board members? And I don't have any as well. Now moving on to the MIRMA, positive net ending balance, net position, as of June 30th.
This is another annual requirement to bring to you the financial net position of MIRMA, which is our Workers' Compensation Joint Powers Agency. And at the end of June 2021, we had a $31 million net position, which indicates if for any reason Spreckels were to decide to leave the JPA, we would take our prorated share of that positive net position and be able to fund all of the claims, the tails they call it, of any injured worker for the entirety of our membership in the JPA. This is very good annual news.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Seeing none, now we're moving on to action, because there's a deadline for this. We better get it done. Educators Effectiveness Block Grant Expenditure Plan. I'd love to entertain a motion on it first before staff speaks to it.
So moved.
It's been moved.
Second.
It's been seconded.
Yeah, you saw this last month as an informational item. It's a 5-year grant. It includes things, professional development. It's going to capture some of our counselor in there. This is kind of a rough draft. Like Steve mentioned, we have to get it in by a certain date, but we have 5 years to kind of massage it depending on our needs. We're in the process of aligning it to all the other plans that we brought you this year. So, any questions about it?
Any questions? No questions. Well, with that, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Motion carries 5-0-0. Moving on to 21-22 first interim report, including balances in excess of minimum reserve requirements. I need a motion on that first, please.
So moved.
It's been moved.
I'll second.
It's been seconded.
So this is the first of 2 mid-year reports we will bring you on the state of our budget. We build this report on the first level of assumptions, which we talked about last month with Seabed's Day, the enrollment assumption. So basically, we're looking at the current year and 2 subsequent years. We are bringing in an excess of revenue of just about, let's see what the number is, a little over $300,000. And we add that to the current level of reserve and then start to make all of our designations. So this summary page of the entire report is kind of the nice snapshot. We are able to meet the projects that we've already committed to, whether it's the Buena Vista Field project or the Spreckels School restroom project. We also accounted for the significant decline in enrollment. You can see that in lane 49 of the report. So out of the reserve of 5.5, we have substantiated needs for that entire amount of money. We'll present this report to the county office later in the week. They'll do their review, and hopefully we'll get news that they agree with our projections. We are in year 2 and 3, the subsequent years, deficit spending for the first time in a very long time, and that is driven, of course, by that drop in enrollment. We do expect, as we talked about last month, that news will be coming out of Sacramento, possibly in January, about some support for all the public schools who are on that ADA decline.
Any questions from the board?
I have a question. So looking at the next 2 years, which you talked about deficit spending, that also, those revenue sources include some of the one-time funding that we've gotten as well, right?
They do, and we very strategically mapped all of those buckets of resources. I think we're up to like 9 different sources of whether federal or state, that's all driven by COVID in some fashion. And we, as we've said all along, we will be spending those that expire first, so we maximize the utilization of those dollars. We don't want to leave any of them on the table because we've missed a deadline. So just like the educator effectiveness grant that just came along, we've pushed that out to the out years because it has the longest life at this point. But yes, we're tracking those very closely. We're very mindful that we do not want to miss those expirations. And so in this projection, because it's the current and the subsequent years, we're still within the life of those funds. When we get to budget development in 22, 23, that's going to be the first year that some of those dollars are completely gone. And that will become the challenge in terms of deciding which programs we want to try to retain. Because there are some great programs, the counselor, the bridging tutoring, there are some things that we'll have to start talking about prioritizing those in the out years.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Anything else? No? Well, with that, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Motion carries 5-0-0. We have a resolution by roll call vote. Let me get the motion first. Let staff speak to it before we do the roll call vote. Get a motion?
So moved.
It's been moved?
Second.
Seconded. And the resolution is on the first interim budget review.
This is the transactional record of all the changes that we've made from the last budget revision, which was done under final hiring. We did that in August, brought it to you in September. And it really, as you can see through all of these account string, lines and lines and lines, it's just a numerical record of the changes that were made.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. By roll call vote. Chris?
Aye.
Jen?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Stephanie?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Resolution carries 5-0-0. We have another resolution. This was boilerplate we have to do every year around this time. It's going to be by roll call vote as well, but it's a resolution designated authorized agent to sign school orders for the school year 21-22 moving forward. I need a motion.
So moved.
Been
Second.
moved? Seconded. Staff, did you want to speak to it for a moment?
No, it's annual in nature. We'll add the new president's name, and then we'll gather some signatures from all that are listed on this form.
Okay.
Send it to the county office.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Roll call vote then. Chris?
Aye.
Jen?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Stephanie?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Resolution carries 5-0-0, and we have another yet timely boilerplate resolution on designating authorized agent to pick up accounts payable and payroll checks for the 21-22 school year. I need a motion.
So moved.
It's been moved.
Second.
Seconded. Not much to say here. Did you need to say anything?
No.
With that, I'll take a roll. Any questions from the board? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote. Chris?
Aye.
Jen?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Stephanie?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Resolution carries 5-0-0. We have annual report on developer fees. I need a motion first.
So moved.
It's been moved.
Second.
It's been seconded. Staff?
This is a December requirement to bring to you the previous year's collection and the cumulative collection of developer fees going back 5 years. So you can see in 2020-21, we collected $3,400 in fees, and they were both fees, residential expansions. As you may remember, we haven't talked about developer fees in a very long time. We don't collect a lot, but the spirit of developer fees is to support the facilities in the event that a development comes in that increases enrollment in the district.
Okay. Thank you.
been-
Any questions from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Motion carries 500. Buena Vista Middle School Field Improvement Project revised construction schedule submitted by the,
I think you jumped over 7.
what? Oh, no, I jumped over 7. Okay. I'm going to back up just a little bit. Oh, yeah, this is kind of important. Substitute teachers are hard to find these days. Substitute teacher pay. I need a motion.
So moved.
It's been moved.
Second.
It's been seconded. Staff?
You kind of summed it up. It's getting very competitive. It's been, gosh, quite a few years since we've adjusted the rate. In your packet, there's basically a comparison of all the districts in the county, and we're on the probably lower 10th. We're recommending that we bump it $25 per day. So right now it's $135, so it'll be $160 for short term, and then $175 for long term. So the recommendation is to adjust it $25, which
For-
puts us more in a competitive.
For the record, it's the second time we've done this since I've been on the board.
Which
It's been that long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and, something
Okay.
we should probably do more,
Consider.
at least
Yeah.
every 2 years.
Any questions from the board? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well.
And just to qualify, this would go into effect in January 3rd when we get back.
Moving forward from there.
It's not retro, yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. Motion carries 500. Now we're going to get to the Buena Vista Middle School Field Improvement Project revised construction schedule submitted by the contractor, C2 Builders, Inc. I need a motion first.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Staff, did you want to speak to it?
This is just documentation of the revision to the schedule due to the first round of rain we had soon after the project started, actually. And we will bring another one if the rain continues and it's outside of what they do build in some rain days into the calendar, but we wanted to document this one because it was not expected at the very beginning of the project. So we're looking at a cleanup and completion of the first week of March.
I know perhaps we don't want the rain to continue for this project, but we really need the rain for our ag industry. Actually was on a phone with a politician recently who was complaining about the rain, and I explained to that particular individual to have his priorities straight on that issue. We need it bad. Okay. Any questions from the board?
No.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Motion carries 500. Nothing on curriculum, nothing on personnel tonight, nothing on administration information, but we do have an action. Final read on July 2019, Part 2, Policies Guide Sheet. I need a motion.
So moved.
It's been moved and
Second.
seconded. This is boilerplate stuff. Did staff need to speak to it at all? All those in favor? Any questions?
No.
We've all done our homework on this a long time ago, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Motion carries 500. We also have another similar scenario. A final read of September, more recent 2021 policies guide sheet. That was for homework recently, well, recently this fall. I need a motion.
So moved.
It's been moved.
Second.
It's been seconded. Any questions from the board? Anything from staff? We're good on this?
Nope.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Motion carries 500. We've come to consent agenda. Do any members of the board want to pull anything from consent to discuss separately? Seeing none, I'd love to entertain a motion on consent.
So moved.
It's been
Second.
moved. It's been seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 500. Oral and written communications. I will pause to say, obviously, the board has received perhaps hundreds, that's a guesstimate, of emails. I don't know of any written correspondence through the U.S. mail or FedEx or anything, but emails on the Buena Vista middle school situation that we're navigating through. They are have different points of view. Many of them, varying points of view on the issue. We've Some of us have received more than others. Some have received the same, including the superintendent and the principal. But I have received personally no other correspondence on any other topic other than that since the last board meeting. And with that, we're going to get to individuals desiring to address the board. I don't teach math, folks, but there's 30 slips. If we move through them, that's 90 minutes or so. It may be less if folks don't use their whole 3 minutes, but I want to remind folks that you do get 3 minutes to speak freely for the board to listen and hear what you have to say. We're going to go through all 30. When the time's up, the microphone will be turned off, you'll please politely return to your seat if you're going to remain in the meeting and listen to the rest of the folks to see what they have to say as well. One other thing is the 3 minute, something new. We have the timer. It's going to be huge on that screen. It's going to be even bigger than that once we get going. So there's no doubt about the timer. Using your peripheral vision, if you're speaking, you should be able to kind of look over and see it pretty easily. The microphone's there. I know some of us need readers, but this is nearsightedness, right, or whatever you call it. So anyways, we're going to get through them all. We ask you please to respect the speakers without interruption. Everyone needs to be heard. Freedom of speech is guaranteed, even in this meeting, and is sacrosanct. For those of us that served in uniform, we've defended that, and we understand that. But I know pretty much all of us do too. And that's that. Just so you know, it's around 6:16. That concert's at 7 o'clock. If you're keeping time and want to know about where we're at, just for that, for those that want to take off and go see that show across the river. And with that, we're going to start with, what I'll do is I'll call someone up to save time and say who's next, so they know they're next to think about heading up, as soon as that person's done. How's that sound fair, everybody? Okay. I'm going to start with Jennifer Rutchow, followed by Dahlia Epperson. Okay? Jennifer Rutchow. And we'll start the timer as soon as you get going.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Rutzchow. I am a parent of a Spreckels student and a Buena Vista student. And I'd like to express my thoughts on what has happened with two of our incredibly valued educators who have created an environment that is safe, inclusive, and welcoming to all students through their support, guidance, and encouragement. They've developed an environment where kindness is promoted. They're preparing our children to do better, to be better when they go out into the world. Suspending the UBU club and morning announcements that are created by students is a disservice to students, the very people that our district is here to serve. Sending a message that kindness and inclusion should only be given to those with the loudest voices, not all of the voices. That is not the message I want my children to learn. I support these teachers being in the classroom and providing extracurricular activities so that my children are provided with opportunities not only to learn about kindness and inclusion, but opportunities to implement them in real life situations. Thank you.
Dahlia Epperson, followed by Cheryl Franzel.
Hi, my name is Dalila, and I'm a mom of 4, grandmother of 2. I'm also the founder of ACT Monterey Bay, and we've been going to school boards since late May. And one of the things we've been noticing is that the school boards have not been listening to us. This kind of information that came out, Ms. Schreier's editorial, this has been leaking to us for the past year and a half. That's why the parents have been so upset for all this long, for this past year and a half. That's why they've been upset in coming to school boards. So, Trustee Scott, I do have a problem with you pointing out that one thing about Ms. Schreier saying it was war. This has been ongoing for the past year and a half. This has been leaking out in breadcrumbs to us. And now we have something like this that's full in our face. It's out there. 2 teachers were caught with their hands in the cookie jar, promoting and recruiting children. And that's what you pulled out of the article. So I had other things to say, but I had to bring that up to you and let you know that that's unfair, because we have been hearing this from our children, from other teachers, from pediatricians, where the children actually confide in them. What's been going on is disgraceful. We have been trying to talk to the school boards, especially Salinas, but I was here last month in the last meeting here. We are really imploring you to hear us now and listen. This is ongoing. This is a lot bigger. And now that it's finally out to this extent, we need you to really investigate. And we're really hoping that you'll really get to the bottom of this, the whole thing, because it'll get deeper and deeper. I have no doubt. We have no doubt. We've been hearing this for a year and a half. So my group is also connected to several children's groups, parents who are concerned about several different things: critical race theory, mask mandates, and vaccination mandates. Thank you.
We have Cheryl Franzel, followed by Grant. I think it says Kramers. Grant Kramers. Cheryl?
Good evening. My name is Cheryl Frenzel, and I am the Executive Director of the Diversity Center. The Diversity Center is an organization with a very, very long history of supporting LGBTQ youth, creating safe space, after-school space, and programs for safe communication. The Diversity Center has often supported Monterey as well, which is Monterey County, which is my home. I'm here only to remind everyone that we see youth that often are in crisis and have nowhere to turn. At best, without a place to have confidential conversations, it can turn inward to depression. And at worst, we've been dealing with a lot of suicide ideation. So I just want to extend the Diversity Center's support to continuing to create spaces that's safe for youth to come to. The very youth that may not have any other place to go, including family, including friends. Thank you.
Grant Kramers, followed by Sam Gomez.
Good evening. My name is Grant. Is this on? My name is Grant Kramers. I'm a father of 3 kids that went through Spreckels Elementary in Buena Vista. I thank you all for your time and attention tonight to this issue. This is not easy to talk about. These were teachers that we knew and supported in the classroom, and their actions have gone too far. They've used predatory tactics to push political activism on our school grounds to our children. How do I know they're predatory? As a volunteer in youth activities, you go through a lot of training. They train us exactly what to look for. You look for people that use their power of position or authority, which teachers in a school environment are in a power of position and authority. They single kids out. They look for kids that don't fit or different or need attention. They did internet searches. They listened to conversations, and they looked for kids that were different. And they exploited them. They gave kids extra attention. They gave personal invitations to their club. That was the extra attention they needed. They allowed kids to do things maybe that their parents weren't particularly supportive of. Lastly, they withheld information from parents, and they created a system that didn't allow parents to check in on things. There's a lot of questions to ask. I'll send an email because there's a lot of questions. There's a history here. The board probably needs to be part of the investigation, not overseeing the investigation, but part of it to find out what was been corresponded in the past. Mr. Tarallo has a history here at these campuses. He probably needs to be part of it as well, and Mrs. Spagarin. The real issue is the two teachers, but the whole thing needs to be looked at. Unfortunately, Ms. Caldera and Ms. Brocky showed their inability to control their personal political agendas. This proves that there's no place for either of these two on school campuses. I think the state board needs to determine whether they should be teachers. Lastly, I'm sad to hear that the GS Bay Club has been disbanded or paused, whatever it is. The club wasn't the problem. The kids weren't the problem. It was two selfish adults that chose to further their political agenda by confusing kids and not including parents. I think all children need support. If clubs are the way to provide the support at Buena Vista, then make sure the clubs have the proper oversight, support, transparency, and parent involvement. Thank you.
Next we have Sam Gomez, followed by Dan Fanucci.
Good evening, Superintendent Tarallo, President McDougall, and members of the board. My name is Sam Gomez, and I'm a former student at Buena Vista Middle School during the 2004 to 2007 school year. I am also the Deputy Director of the Epicenter, a drop-in resource center for youth here in Monterey County. I am going to speak on my own personal experience first, before sharing some resources that our organization has to offer as a support for the school district and the students. In 2006, I was a 7th grader at Buena Vista Middle School. During this time, I was outed by a classmate, and shortly after, the entire school learned about me being a part of the LGBTQ+ community. There were mixed reactions, including judgmental stares from peers, supportive encouragement from other classmates, and unfortunately, the disapproval by some parents. The height of the parents' disapproval went as far as not allowing their children to be my friend. As a 12-year-old child, this negatively impacted my mental health and led to some seriously negative habits, including self-harm. I did not have support at home, and I was terrified of being outed to my family at the time because of their negative views towards the LGBTQ+ community. The news did not reach my family, but if it did, I am sure I would have been disowned just as I was when I was outed to them at 17. In the midst of this trial, the school did not acknowledge it to me, nor did I learn of what happened to the student who spread the rumor. But thankfully, I had some friends at school who showed their support and care, and because I honestly don't know if I would still be here today without them. That being said, had there been a school club on campus that I could have received support or acceptance, I know it would have helped me believe that my life was worth living sooner than the 10 years it took for me to fully accept myself. In the work I do now, we strive to help create a safe and inclusive environment for our youth, which I am sure the district's vision statement would agree, as it is a common goal. Ultimately, the well-being of our students is a priority, which includes a safe environment for everybody. To do this, we need to dedicate resources for LGBTQ+ inclusivity at school, introduce competency trainings for teachers and staff, and finally, check in with our students to see how they are feeling and what services and resources they need on campus, and either doing an anonymous survey or open forum And we at the Epicenter are here to help and offer our services and resources to provide LGBTQ plus best practices trainings, social support groups, and presentations to offer educational information and resources to our LGBTQ plus youth. Thank you for listening.
Next we have Dan Finucci, followed by Nina Cordero.
Hi. I would just like to say that, in a sense, I disagree. There is a war going on. And it is a war of a small elite that are making rules and forcing things on young children, and you're ignoring what we as parents value. And I think it's a spiritual warfare, and I stand on the name of Jesus Christ, and I say that we need to take back our school system. And we're tired of hearing the things that are going on that are being pushed on our kids. All right? So that's all I've got to say.
Nina Cordero, followed by Katie Bassler.
Good evening. My name is Nina Haro Cordero. I'm a mom of 4 children, 1 at BV in 7th, 2 at Spreckels in 2nd and 4th, and 1 entering kinder next year. I'm an active Spreckels parent volunteer and an educator married to an educator with over 30 years of experience between us. Though I'm very concerned with the alleged allegations and behavior of the 2 teachers at BV, I'm not here to debate the need for LGBTQ support on school campuses. I am an ally, and this is 100% vital to our school community. However, I'm here to offer some solutions. I believe strongly that children, especially middle schoolers, should have a safe place at school to talk to adults about their feelings or problems and to freely express themselves without judgment or hate. Parents and school staff should work together to guide students and support them as they move through this tumultuous time into young adulthood. Our district should be providing the leadership and resources to facilitate this process. Here's where we have a problem. One of the most important ways our district can support the learning and growth of students is to hire quality teachers and retain them for many years. This district is one of the lowest paying districts in the county. How can you possibly think you will attract the best of the best in education without offering competitive compensation? Also, why are you asking parent groups in our district to fundraise tens of thousands of dollars to pay for basic staffing, a librarian, a music teacher, an art teacher? How can you honestly say you support a world-class education when you don't even budget to pay the salaries of essential staff? Another problem this situation has made clear is the lack of support at the administrative level of our schools. There is one principal at BV to manage all the policies, schedules, teachers, curriculum, behavior, social, emotional support of an entire school of middle schoolers. That is insane, especially in a post-distance learning COVID school environment. Many of the issues that have come to light on campus could have been completely avoided had BV had a full-time, professionally trained counselor responsible for checking in with students and running campus equity clubs that support all the diversity needs on our campus. How can we possibly serve our students well without more administrative support? There should be at least a vice principal and a full-time counselor at the middle school. Children need creative outlets to express who they are and process hard emotions. Studies have shown time over time that the arts are a place where diverse students can feel safe and respected and given the opportunity to show who they are. BV has no full-time dedicated instructors for the performing arts, dance, theater, music, visual arts. Providing the funding these programs need so students have outlets and feel supported is essential. Let them be seen and heard through beautiful creative expression on campus and in our community. In closing, I will remind you of the Spreckels shared vision statement. Spreckels Union School District believes our students are our core mission, and our community has a shared responsibility to provide an equitable, rigorous, world-class education. We have a shared responsibility to care for and educate our children. How can we create a world-class education if we are light years behind in our teacher compensation, our staffing shortages, and our lack of supportive creative spaces? I truly hope this new awareness is a catalyst for change to provide our students with the resources they need to thrive.
Next we have Katie Bassler, followed by Tanya Navarro.
Good evening, Superintendent, President McDougall. My name is Katie Bassler, and I am a resident of the Spreckels School District. I'm also a veteran teacher, and I do understand how difficult this year has been and how difficult it is to fund a school district. I speak tonight in order to emphasize that I'm discouraged by the divisive behavior of some of the adults in our community. The district, as I understand, has contracted with a third party to investigate the allegations of the two educators. Until this investigation is complete, and afterwards, I invite all of us to behave in a manner that allows for students, staff in our community to have safety. This includes emotional safety. It's encouraging to hear all of the trustee statements this evening, to focus on kindness, compassion, and support of an inclusive culture for students and staff. The students are watching all of us and learning. And what are they going to learn about the behavior and how we are treating one another? As this investigation process continues, please continue to pause and demonstrate compassion, board, and respect for the community as you have. Thank you for your leadership during this very difficult time.
I'm having trouble. I mean, Tanya's next, Tanya Navarro, but the person on deck, I can't read that name.
And last name possibly is Norden, Nohrden, maybe? Nick, maybe? No, something Norden.
I don't know I can't read the first name. I'm sorry.
Is it Vicky? Sorry.
Oh, it's Vicky? Okay. So you're on deck. But Tanya's first. But Tanya's first.
Thank you. Hi, good evening. I'm really glad that this is a really good turnout. Most meetings don't have so many parents. The last one, this one had 4 prior to that. So I'm really glad everybody's here. As many other people have stated, I don't think the issue lies in whether there is a support group in the school or not. The issue is in the way that it was conducted. We're talking about full-grown adults who have the cognitive ability to be able to manipulate and contort the ideas and the perspectives that a child is going to be, taking in. I'd like to remind you that children's simple anatomy doesn't even allow them to make decisions when they're in middle school, not even in high school, okay? So keep in mind that these people manipulated, they pandered, they spied, as everybody said, that those are predator, pedophile-like actions. I don't think this warrants a simple mere in-house investigation or a third party. This really needs to bring in some, the police should be involved. These people are talking about sexuality to our children. Mind you that there are folks, and I fully respect your decision as a grown-up to be able to decide for yourself what you want to call yourself or what you want to be. But when it comes to our children, they're moldable. They're easily manipulated. They are easy to convince, especially when they are in distress. When it's easy for them to think that a grown-up is on their side. We know this as parents, right? When our kids behave better with grandma than they do with mom. We see it. Point in case, some kids don't come from this kind of background or this distressed background. The majority don't. While I am in full support of you having the support groups in the classrooms, I really think transparency, as everybody else has said, is such a big issue. Would you have sent an email or something saying, that this was going to be something the school was going to be including? I can have this conversation with my child. I can sit down with my child and I can explain to them what our convictions and our religions and our perspectives and ideologies are. But when you force and impose upon them, that is immoral. That is wrong. Thank you.
Vicky, right?
It is. It's Vicky Norden.
Oh,
Thank you so
sorry.
much.
And then followed by Jeremiah Rutchow.
And thank you, everybody, for all of your words tonight. It's amazing. I think maybe somebody left their mask here. You started out by talking about compassion and kindness and respect. And respect is so important. What I think is lacking is we are not respecting the parents. When parents don't have a voice and a place of authority in their children's world, and the school seeks to undermine that authority by telling you not to tell your parents and to let the kids off campus to have hormone therapy at 12 years old without telling their parents is out of order. And I think a plumb line needs to be released in all of this education system. And by the way, I do support education choice, school choice, because when monies aren't being spent in the way they should be spent to educate our children with an education, not an indoctrination, then things are out of order. In my remaining minutes, I want to say that there is a book that Abigail Schreier wrote. I'm sorry that the gentleman thinks it's about war. It is about the future, and it is about vision. And how we perceive the future for our children and our communities starts in education. It's very important. It starts in the home, but education is really important. So the thing that concerns me the most is when schools want to undermine the authority of the parents. And that's really why I'm here. I'm a parent, I'm a grandparent. I've worked on the campuses with my kids. I worked as a court-appointed special advocate for children. I really care about the community. But when somebody disagrees with a mindset and then sends CPS to somebody's house, I say that is absolutely out of order. So I stand here today on behalf of parents. Please listen to the parents. Do I care about the children? I pioneered a challenge day on the campus for the kids, which was all inclusive for all the kids. And take the labels off. Would you please stop all the labeling of our kids? You don't need to be LGBTQ, brown, white, whatever color. I think we could get along in our society if we would just choose to love one another. Thank you.
Next we have Jeremiah Ruchow, followed by, I think, is it Nellie Hebert? Nolly?
That's what, Herbert.
Herbert?
Perhaps.
Maybe? Go ahead, Jeremiah.
Thank you. First of all, a lot of comments, so I'll try to be brief. I only have 3 minutes. I understand you've received a numerous amount of emails. Pretty much anything outside of our local community should be completely disregarded. Has nothing to do with what's going on in our community. Also, I'd note that anybody who's ever read Abigail knows that she's far from an unbiased journalist. Regarding Ms. Baraki and Ms. Caldera, I think it really comes down to intent. And intent in this situation is determined by years of service to this school district, not by the perception that some parents have regarding this club. When you look at the intent of the UBU club and what these teachers promoted it for or utilized, it was inclusion and kindness. They offered a higher level of support than many kids get at home or in any other aspect. One thing about UBU is absolutely nobody was forced to join UBU. Now, a lot of parents in here who discuss what type of influence the teachers may have had on their students, I would ask, were your kids part of this? Because my child was, and my child had no influence, no persuasion to join or to participate. I'm actually speaking from a position of experience, not just opinion. I would also ask, when we talk about influence on our kids here, who of you, heterosexuals in this room, thought at age 13, yeah, I don't know, maybe am I going to choose to like boys or am I going to choose to like girls? It's a choice that I have that I'm going to make here. You didn't. You didn't. And kids who are LGBTQ don't either. They are who they are. Why would we want to suspend a program that offers kids something that they clearly cannot get at home in many situations? I understand I want to be part of my children's life and understand what's going on at school, But if my child didn't feel they could come to me and that they did not have the necessary support, I would consider, one, a failing on my part, but two, I would want them to have that level of support and care at the place that they were 5 days a week. School is not just about education. It's not. School is about growth. It's about learning. It's about being a human being. Yeah, thank you.
Can I ask?
I couldn't quite read your name.
Can I ask the board to tell the people who are being disrespectful or people are speaking to not speak, and then the lady to wear a mask? It's mandated.
Could you please step? Are you the next speaker? Okay. Please take your seat. Please take your seat. I couldn't read your name. I apologize.
I'm sorry about my handwriting. I'm Holly Hebert.
Holly, I'm sorry. But let me call the next person on deck. Berenice Carcano is on deck. Go ahead, Holly. Yeah, you're up next. I'm calling who's after you.
Hi, my name is Holly Hebert, and my son and daughter both attended Buena Vista Middle School, and it was a good experience for both of them. They had a great experience with all of their teachers. Ms. Caldera in particular was a teacher that they both were very fond of, and I think reading about the brazenness, I guess, of her bringing up tenure, how she couldn't be touched. I think my biggest question, not to repeat a lot of the great things that have already been said, is what does tenure really do, and how far can a teacher go with this magical tenure that they're protected when you have basically recruiting for the club going on, not just allowing students to come to the club organically. You have eavesdropping, you have predatory cyber stalking. I think these are, as was already stated, predatory. And again, I ask, what does tenure protect? And I just want to end on the note that, having said that both of my children had these teachers, they're well liked and they're influential. And Ms. Caldera with her Harry Potter infused curriculums, she's very popular and likable. I worked in her classroom. I like her very much. I think both of these teachers are excellent teachers. And that's what's so concerning for me, is that this message of, again, it's recruitment, indoctrination, it's influencing very young, we're talking 11 to 13-year-olds? Is that what we're talking about? And if I'm an 11-year-old and I'm insecure and I'm facing peer pressure and a teacher tells me I'm bold and brave and smart because I was in a club, I'm going to come back to that club because I'm being groomed. That's what that is. That's grooming. And if I'm being offered free pizza, I might show up to a club. So I don't know what other tactics are being used because I'm not on campus. But I think it's important that the board really look at the influence of these two teachers. And yes, they're great teachers, but you can be a great teacher with an agenda that spoils your intent, it spoils your mission, because you have another agenda that supersedes what you were hired for and what the taxpayers are paying you for. Thank you.
Berenice Carcano, followed by Cheryl Duffus.
Good evening. I first want to say I can't imagine growing up and being pandered the way children are nowadays. I'm part of the rainbow community, but I do not agree with it all. I don't fit in the box or narrative that you assume me to be. We have kids in high school who can barely read and write. Now at this level, this easy manipulation and propaganda is very disturbing. I'm so thankful that I grew up not being brainwashed and confused. We have kids who can barely think for themselves, and we are now telling them that they can be pansexual or whatever, when they haven't even kissed anyone yet, let alone even have sex. Whether it's a boy or girl, or the 80+ genders that are being made up nowadays. It's really getting out of hand, and I don't agree with it. All this pushing of the rainbow flag and trans flag and this and that or the other, you know, being proud of who you are should not be framed by teaching our kids to lie. I myself don't have any rainbow flags in my house, no decals, no shirts, nothing. But you will find the American flag in my house. Just my opinion, but I'm very proud to be an American. I already said that. Please bring back God, the Pledge of Allegiance, those things, etc. Again, I'm very thankful that I didn't grow up being easily influenced to think I'm this sexual preference or gender. I do have a same-sex partner, and that's what she is a female, because there's only two genders, a male and a female. And to Sam, I'm sorry what happened to you when you were younger, and I hope we remain friends even after this speech. Again, not all the folks that are queer think this is okay. Yeah, have a GSA club, that's fine, but don't groom children. Don't do that at all. That's not cool. So thank you for listening.
Next is Cheryl Duffus, followed by Lawrence Samuels.
Hi, board and administration. My name is Cheryl, and I'm a parent of two boys that attended Buena Vista Middle School. They were both there 7 years ago, so they're 18 and 20. I'm speaking tonight to address the administration's response to parent concerns over this seminar that was titled How We Run a GSA in a Conservative Community. It was given by Ms. Caldera and Ms. Baraki in October of 2021. When the audio of that seminar was released, I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked, but I'm going to tell you I wasn't surprised. While my boys attended BV, I complained multiple times about Ms. Caldera's personal agenda that was spilling over into the classroom. On one occasion, I picked my youngest one up from school during an all-school assembly where he and other students were supposed to walk under a rainbow arch in the inner court to support the club. This was an all-school event, not just for members of the GSA club. After that event, I personally met with Mr. Torello, and you'll remember that meeting. I explained what was happening in the 7th grade classroom. I explained what happened at the assembly. I explained that I had tried to talk to Ms. Caldera, and I told him it was unacceptable. If activities and curriculum like this are shared amongst club members, a club where the children's parents have approved of it, then that is their prerogative. Mr. Torello told me he would, quote, talk to Ms. Caldera and have her tone it down. And I am not the only parent that complained. I know of 4 other parents directly that year in 2015 that had the same meeting with them. In response to emails about the CTA seminar, they admitted deception, lying to parents, and stalking of children for recruitment into this club. Administration responded, and I have it on my text, quote, "These are respected teachers who just really screwed up." Regarding the conference, they were on personal leave, and the district didn't pay a dime or endorse it. I just want to make that crystal clear. These were the texts from administration, and they make it crystal clear that all they care about is the image of this school, not what happened to these kids. This issue is not about a GSA club on campus. It has nothing to do with that. This issue is about deceiving parents, stalking children, and these are children, they're 12 years old. You're going to hear a story from a friend of mine tonight about what was done to her child, and it's horrific. It is horrifying. She had her name and gender changed at that school with no parent approval, no parent knowledge. She was coached about gender transition. They dealt with issues of child suicide and knew that the child was dealing with it, and they never told the parent. These teachers knew. These are teachers with elementary school credentials.
Thank you. Next, we have Lawrence Samuels, followed by Estella Mercado.
Hello, I'm L.K. Samuels. I'm a historian. I wrote Killing History. I've dealt with this before. A lot of research. The trouble here is not about what clubs out there and what they do. It's the fact that this is a government-run school. If you want to destroy education, let the government run it. The founders did not believe in state-run education. They were against it. They had public schools. But public schools is not a government-run school. It's because anybody can join it. Public government schools didn't come into about the 1840s through various states. And the trouble is that all these dictatorships around the world, they always have government-run schools because they want to indoctrinate the children. Always. I get quite a bit into the Germany in the 1930s. Hitler nationalized all education. All of them. It took a little while. And they indoctrinated the students into critical race theory. That's where it came from. Conservatives are wrong. It didn't come from Marx. It came from Hitler. And they made the Nazis in the schools, especially with their school union. Remember, the Nazis had a big school union called the National Socialist Teachers League. And they were pushing this. They said that the Germans were an oppressed race. Oppressed. And the oppressor race was the Jews. That's what led to the Holocaust. But these government schools, you're not going to change them. I have a petition here if anyone wants it. School choice. That's the way to go. The money follows the kid. They do it in Sweden. It's the Milton Friedman one. And it's doing very successful in Sweden. So if you really want to change things, you're not going to change things here. You're going to change it by taking their money away, and you will have control over which schools. Thank you.
Next is Estela Mercado, followed by Angela de Ramos.
Okay, good evening. I'm Estela Mercado. I am a school teacher, but first and foremost, I am the mother of a gay son who witnessed her son's struggle with self-acceptance. Diego was 5 when he would cry himself to sleep, and for 15 years, I watched my son cry himself to sleep, asking God why he was the way he was. I tried to approach my son to support him in his self-acceptance. Diego did not accept himself until he was 16 years old, on his terms when he was ready. Not because. So what I can say is that if it were not for the adults and the clubs that were accepting of my son's journey to self-acceptance, my son could have been easily a suicide statistic, because educators approached me with regards to the thoughts that he was having as early as elementary school. My son didn't choose to be gay. He was born gay. I knew that. It was his journey to accept himself. A student's right to live out the core values of your mission statement, compassion, kindness, respect, and love of self outweigh any parental right that I think I have. My responsibility as a parent is to ensure that my child and all children have the opportunity that your mission statement states to flourish in spite of the bigotry. It is alarming to read as a community member that a gay student alliance club that supports students has been suspended, and that parental permission slips are now required prior to any club holding a meeting? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? My role as a parent is to be there for my child and to be ready and be there when he is ready or she is ready to accept themselves, whatever they want to call themselves, gay, LGBTQ, transgender, whatever. That is my right as a parent, to be there for my child. The job of a school board and of a school district is to support that mission statement. And so I thank the adults in the classrooms, the adults that sponsor the clubs that support these kids. Because guess what? They're not ready to talk to you. And when they're not, and when they are, I hope you're ready to accept your child.
We have Angela De Ramos, followed by Thomas Luter.
Good evening. My name is Angela De Ramos. I'm a 5th grade teacher in the LSL district. And I am rising in support of the students and the faculty, particularly these 2 teachers. And like all of you, I was there at the conference. And I also happen to work with both Lori and Kelly, and I know them to be hardworking tirelessly for students. And it makes me sad that they're being sacrificed, and the student club is being sacrificed for like what I essentially think is like a manipulated dog whistle that totally takes things out of context. I mean, I'm a student and I look for my kids who are alone. I watch them. Is that surveilling them and targeting them and grooming them? I'm protecting the kids who most need a friend. And I can see the words just being twisted and really absorbed in the worst way possible. Please support these teachers who are so dedicated to students. If you know them, you know this is their love. They protect students at all costs. I protect students over anything because that's what we love. Please protect them, protect the club, protect the kids, do the right thing in spite of the dog whistles. Thank you.
Next, we have Thomas Luter, followed by Catherine Beck.
All right, hello. My name is Thomas. I'm a graduate of Spreckels and Buena Vista Middle School, and I would like to comment on the administrative suspension of Lori Caldera. My name is Thomas. I am a straight, cisgendered man, and I serve no agenda. I would merely like to convey the incredible impact that Lori Caldera has had on my life in the decade that I have known her. I graduated Buena Vista Middle School in 2013, where as a teacher, she guided and encouraged my academic success and made me feel welcome during what can be a very trying and unwelcoming period of someone's life. It certainly was for me. But she has consistently shown me genuine kindness and support in the years since I was one of her students, and has proven to be more than just a teacher to me and so many others that I know. She has enabled opportunities that otherwise would be closed to me and helped teach me skills such as public speaking, adaptability, leadership, self-confidence, and so much more. She has continued to advocate for me in my pursuits beyond school and still continues to be a source of joy and humor for me today. In short, she has changed my life. Thank you. I personally know dozens of students who have been similarly impacted by Mrs. Caldera, who would be here tonight telling similar stories if they were able. In every way, she has been a mentor and a friend to me, and she has never pushed me to be anyone but my true self. She is one of the most caring, compassionate, and intelligent people I know, and it would be an absolute shame to stop her from teaching and mentoring students. Thank you, and I yield my time to the chair.
Next, we have Catherine Beck, followed by Rachel Beck.
Hello, my name is Catherine Beck, and I'm a former student. I first attended the UBU, then called the Equality Club, meeting when I was in the 6th grade. I was not sought after. I was not pressured, and I was not forced into attending the meeting, nor was I ever pressured or forced into being anyone but who I already was. I learned about the club the same way every other student at Buena Vista learned about the club, through the club slide on morning announcements, which also advertised groups like the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, whose meetings I also attended. I joined the club because I was sick of dealing with lunchtime middle school drama. When I wanted to attend a meeting, I did. And when I wanted to hang out with my friends, I did that too. It's true that the Equality Club did not keep records, did not take attendance, and did not have club officers, but that's the case with all clubs at Buena Vista, including the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. During my time in the Equality Club, we discussed a wide range of topics, always student selected, from racism to disabilities to, yes, LGBTQ issues. However, this was never a secret to the school board nor to the school administration. I presented on behalf of the Equality Club to Mr. Tirallo, Ms. Pagran, and other members of the school board. I remember feeling so proud after you congratulated me for my hard work and knowledge. And I am so disappointed that you have so quickly forgotten your support of the club and of the Student Senate. I also had Mrs. Caldera and Mrs. Baraki as 7th grade teachers, where not once did they address any material unrelated to their subjects. Never did they bring politics into the classroom. And never did they prevent students from expressing their opinions in a respectful manner, regardless of what those opinions were. Everything they did was to educate students in the most objective way possible, while fostering a classroom and campus environment where all could feel safe and accepted. I simply do not see the crime in that. You have stripped from your students 2 teachers who cared about each and every one of them. You have taken from them a club that provided them with an opportunity to belong and to be themselves. You have done a disservice to your students. You have not protected them from any vicious, predatory threat. That threat never existed. Instead, you have forced them into situations potentially full of anxiety and social isolation, threats that are oh so real to middle schoolers. As a school board, your primary job is to do right by your students. Do better.
Next, we have Rachel Beck, followed by Stuart Lowenstein? Lowenstein? I can't quite read the last name. Okay,
And
go ahead.
It's not fair to make me follow Catherine.
Oh, really? We'll see.
Okay.
Okay.
It's just not fair. So my name is Rachel Beck, and I'm here tonight as a parent and as a member of the community. I come here today to express my extreme disappointment in the school board and this administration. I am dismayed that you would so quickly throw teachers that you have known and respected for years under the bus in what seems like a knee-jerk reaction to a hit piece. The UBU Club, as Catherine said, was formerly the E for E Club, Everyone for Equality. And both of my daughters, Catherine and Emma, were both members of the club. This was not a secret club with a hidden agenda. They did not meet in the shadows. Everyone on campus was invited to the meetings, which were advertised on morning announcements and held at lunch. Kids were free to attend or not attend. The agenda was very clear. Provide a safe space for students while promoting kindness and tolerance. We should be celebrating the fact that our teachers care enough about their students to start a club like this, not shaming them. Our teachers have earned the benefit of the doubt through their years of service to our students. For this administration to imply that they were unfamiliar with the aims of the club is anything but honest. This club was involved in the anti-bullying week every year and is part of the district's suicide prevention plan. The letter sent to the community implies the club's leaders are somehow guilty. But the only thing I see them guilty of is caring about our students and providing them a safe space. Mr. Tirallo, you were the principal when my daughter was in 6th grade. You attended the kindness fair in the Buena Vista gym. I also attended the fair. There were posters on LGBTQ issues, as well as posters on racism, sexism, homelessness, gun violence. The issues ran the gamut. The students from the Equality Club chose the topics, did their own research, and then presented those posters to their peers. For this administration to state in the letter to the community, and I quote, the comments, ideas, and principles shared do not align with any SUSD policies or practices, nor was SUSD aware of the practices outlined in the article prior to its publication, is disingenuous. You supported the club and its ideas by attending the kindness fair. How do you think our teachers and students feel now? You supported them and promoted them for years, and the first time an outside source writes an inflammatory blog post, you publicly claim ignorance and hang them out to dry. The students of this club are your students. Abigail Schreier is not. She doesn't live here. She doesn't know our students or our community. She doesn't represent us. And frankly, she does not care about our students as individuals. She has an agenda. Your job as a school board and as an administration is to protect us from outside agendas. Your mission statement has been spoken and referred to already several times. I'm looking at my time tonight, but bottom line, as an academic team and community, we model and instill the core values of compassion, kindness, and respect in all of our work. Are you fulfilling your mission right now? Are you supporting the 12 core values is to promote compassion, kindness,
Time's up, Dr. Beck. Time's up. Stuart, I'm sorry, Stuart. I can't quite read your last name. I'm sorry.
Rosenstein.
Rosenstein. Okay.
Yes.
And
My name-
followed by Stuart is Chloe Valdez. Chloe Valdez. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. So my name is Stuart Rosenstein. I'm the chair of an organization called the Queer Youth Task Force. I'm an openly gay man. I came out late in life, and I really work to support LGBTQIA plus youth, their parents, their teachers, their advisors. And I'm here to ask for your help as school board members and as a superintendent. I'm here to ask you to please do more for our LGBT kids. I'm asking you to maybe enforce all the state laws that have been written since 2000. Sheila Kuehl passed the AB 537, the California Student Safety Violence Prevention Act, which finally gave law to support LGBT students. I've been working with queer youth now for 20 years. We have a program called the Queer Youth Leadership Awards, and we honor LGBT youth who are making their community safer. And I hear from parents who actually told me personally how they were honored to have their kid being honored, and then they wrote an op-ed in the paper basically saying that their kid was an overachiever that did all these beautiful things to make the community safer, but they were never acknowledged for the LGBT things they did. And so our organization honors LGBT youth. And by what you did, by having allowing or the state law making it safe for queer youth and trans youth to have a club on campus, you were doing that also, sending love and support. What I hear, number one, from queer and trans youth is they want support and love from their parents and their grandparents and their aunts and uncles. They want that not just to be loved, but they want it to be celebrated, inviting their partners for Thanksgiving dinner and holidays. And they want their teachers to see them for who they are, to call them by their name, and by honoring who they are. And they want to not just come to school, but they want to flourish in their classrooms and write papers that they want to write about, that are issues that are hidden from them. There are state laws that are not being enforced. LGBT content is almost invisible in school books. And so I'm here basically to ask for you to please do more for our LGBT youth. When I got involved in queer youth activism, one thing that I was challenged is a lot of people do the talk, but where's the line item in the budget that actually supports LGBT youth? Are LGBT youth being sent to conferences around the country and in the state that support them? Are they brought in to get advice of how to make their campus a safer place? These are the experts, these LGBT youth, and no one talks to them and no one listens to them, or at least very few do. And I commend the teachers and the advisors that support these kids. I'll close by saying that my parents supported me when I came out, and I really admire all the parents who speak out for all their youth, including the LGBT youth. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Chloe Valdez, followed by Thomas Caldera Perry.
Hello, I'm speaking to you in hopes that you will do more to protect both Ms. Caldera and Ms. Baraki from the hate and threats that they have received after a hit piece was written about them, and their efforts to protect LGBTQ youth. Ms. Caldera and Mrs. Baraki have worked so hard to give students a safe place in a world where LGBT youth have the highest suicide rates in the country. Their work is so important to the community, and to suspend the UBU club after an article weaponized misinformation and viciously attacked 2 of your teachers is beyond shameful. As an alumni who had these 2 exceptional teachers, I'm asking you to stand behind them and to protect them from attacks based on dangerous misinformation. As a student, both in middle school and high school under this school district, I've worked closely with Ms. Caldera, and she is nothing but accepting, supportive, helpful, and great to work with. As my mentor for many years, Mrs. Caldera has helped me and my friends serve the community and find our own voices. As a teacher as celebrated as Mrs. Caldera, I'd expect more from you and the other leaders involved to protect her and Mrs. Baraki from the hateful attacks, because they dared to give LGBT youth a safe place. If you cared about the well-being of your teachers and your LGBT students, you will reinstate the UBU club and denounce the hateful attacks made against Ms. Caldera and Mrs. Baraki. Frankly, some of these comments have disgusted me, and they've disgusted me, and we need to do more for these students and for these teachers. Thank you.
Next is Thomas Caldera Perry, followed by Kira Benedictino.
Good evening, Spreckels community. My name is Thomas Caldera Perry. I am the son of highly respected and award-winning teacher Lori Caldera, as well as a Buena Vista Middle School alumni. I am here to speak on behalf of my family, my mother, on the impact that these recent events have had on us. To begin, there are a great many assumptions and accusations being made as a result of a political third-party blogger with a very clear anti-LGBT agenda who's looking only to boost the sales of her discredited book. While she sits completely uncaring of the destruction she has caused, my mother and Miss Baraki continue to be victimized by targeted and hate speech due to the district's knee-jerk reaction and fear-based response. Let there be no mistake here. Lori Caldera and Kelly Baraki are the victims of focused harassment due to their work on behalf of LGBT families and students. Furthermore, my mother and Miss Baraki have been effectively silenced and are unable to launch their own defense due to a variety of reasons, not the least of which are threats to their own personal safety, including those that, quote, would like to beat them with baseball bats, or another quote, shoot them dead. These threats to their safety based on illegally obtained audio given to a blatantly biased blogger are not only ridiculous, but they show a greater issue within this school district as a whole. This district and the statement released were very quick to side with the anti-LGBT claims and to throw 2 of the hardest working and loyal teachers in the district to the hounds. No benefit of the doubt for these award-winning and popular teachers who have proven their time and time again their loyalty to their students. No support for those students who will now live in fear at their schools, a place where they will spend the majority of their young lives, all because the school district, superintendent, and principal decided to take a stance against them. The only words I can find to describe this situation are shameful at best. The district's cowardly statement lends credibility to a misrepresentation. It is a skill I learned at BV that was to identify the audience of a written piece and evaluate it for its source of bias. I find it shocking that none of you have the same skill. It is evident, thank you. It is evident that the author had a clear bias. It is now also evident to me that the district seems to share that bias as well. For a district to claim that it supports inclusion and equity, you have failed your first test. The article in question was not only illicitly obtained and released, but it does not paint an accurate picture of the purpose of the presentation at the CTA conference. Nor does it represent the realities of how Lori Caldera, Kelly Baraki, and the UBU club function on the Buena Vista campus. My family fully supports this third-party investigation mentioned earlier, as we are certain it will clear up this false narrative asserted by the blogger and seemingly supported by the district. I would like to end with a question here to the school board here. How could you? You all know better. There is no violation of students' privacy. The club has always run with full and utmost transparency, and the only agenda ever pushed by Baraki and Caldera. I know my time is up.
Time's up. There you go. Next, we have Kira Benditino, followed by Gunter Konen.
Good evening and hello, everybody. My name is Kira Benedictino. I go by Benny or Ms. Benny to my students. I teach at Carmel High School, where I am also the GSA Club Advisor. I previously taught and was the GSA Club Advisor at Salinas High School, where I'm happy to say I had many Buena Vista students. I'm about to read a letter that was co-signed by over a dozen Monterey County educators, many of whom are GSA Club Advisors, representing over half a dozen middle school and high schools in Monterey County. We are Monterey County educators committed to supporting LGBTQ+ students and allies in our schools. We teach and work with students at a variety of secondary schools, including Carmel High School, El Sisal Middle School, Rancho San Juan High School, North Salinas High School, Salinas High School, Washington Middle School, Hardin Middle School, among others. We have seen the local news coverage of the Spreckels decision to suspend a Gay-Straight Alliance Club. Many of us have seen the value and positive impact of clubs that support LGBTQ+ students and allies. A club that supports these students helps establish a safer community from which the entire school benefits. These benefits have been researched and documented. For example, the Trevor Project found less bullying of LGBTQ+ students at schools with inclusive cultures, though risk of suicide remains 4 times higher for LGBTQ+ youth. The reality for many of our LGBTQ+ students is that their lives are fraught with risk, from increased homelessness and housing insecurity to physical assault, harassment, discrimination, and mental health crises. The 2017 Monterey County Homelessness Census and Survey found a disproportionate number of LGBTQ+ young people among the homeless, with a disproportionate number reporting experience of domestic violence and HIV or AIDS-related illness. Against this backdrop, school has the opportunity to be a place of safety. It has the opportunity to be a place that can help save lives. On your wall, I see sometimes it just takes one to be an upstander. Be that one.
Next, we have Gunter Konen, followed by Jessica Konen.
Good afternoon. My name is Gunter Konen. I'd like to thank you for giving us the time to speak here. And an amazing second family to me today is Protect Our Children 831. Stepped up. It's an amazing group of handful of people that are willing to talk with us. Me and my daughter at one point had pointed something out that's caused a lot of problem at our house. I have an amazing family. I'm not real good with speech, but I want to address that I'm not against LGBTQ. I have nothing. My sin's no worse than anyone else's. God loves you. God loves me, but He hates our sin. Period. I have 10 grandchildren, half of them serve in church on the worship team. But the reason I'm here is for our straight A student. She's our smart one. And she happens to be the subject for me tonight. She was the one that, she's a straight A student all of her life. She's now entered into high school, a straight A student. And yeah, she's the one that's confused because she was coached. And if you're that victim, you can't speak. You can't say what's happening in your life. my daughter was CPS was called on my daughter because she went into school to have a discussion with the teacher for hiding the fact that she was given a new name, a boy's name. You know, for a boy to be told that if you think you're a girl, you're a girl. If you think you're a boy, you're a boy. You know, that's just vile nonsense. The fact that suicide wasn't brought up to my daughter infuriates me. You know, the teacher needs to and principal as well. Principal knew about it as well, okay? So let no one fool you with the pleasant speeches. And I'm sorry, I should be talking to you. But you know, I think education needs to be grounded on truth. We need God back in America, you know, we need God back in schools. I just feel that our kids are impressionable at that age, and you know, we should keep the parents informed. I say resign or repent. I'm merciful. So is God.
Next, we have Jessica Conan, followed by Lisa Cisneros.
First of all, I would like to say that I am here only because I support and love my child. And kudos to you, Thomas, for coming forward and speaking on behalf of your mother, that at one point, remember, she didn't have your back. She didn't know how to sit here and understand what you were going through. She took out what she neglected on you with my child. So, good evening. My name is Jessica, and I stand here today in front of all of you because I am outraged. Is this really barely coming to light? Are you guys serious? How could you even allow this? How could you even have this meeting to question it? How dare you let these teachers come in and act as if they have nothing wrong? They've done nothing wrong. A mistake? How long of a mistake? How many mistakes are we going to take before my child almost lost her life? They didn't tell me that my child was suicidal. You allowed these teachers to open their classrooms teaching predatory information to a young child, a mindful child that doesn't even know how to comprehend it all. How do you not know what was going on your own campuses? Did you think that no parent would ever come forward? You will not quiet me today. I will stand here today and protect my child along with every other child who has not come forward yet. Do they have psychiatry degrees that I was unaware of? Because I didn't hire them. Okay, I did not hire them to sit there and nitpick my child's brain. You took away my ability to parent my child, even before I had any knowledge. I didn't even get to show support. You asked for support, I didn't get a chance. You planted seeds, Ms. Caldera and Ms. Baraki, Mr. Baraki and you, Ms. Cagaran. Your job was to educate my child in math, science, English, etc. Do your job and let me do mine. They assumed that my child needed your aid and resources. They pushed it in the face. And tonight, I will stick up for her. Ms. Caldera, you're guilty. Ms. Baraki, you're guilty. You changed her personal documentation, her gender, her name, her email. I authorized an AKA added to her attendance because I wanted to be supportive. But guess what? She's allergic to bees. Her medical record says a birth name, and you changed it. Who administers that now? Not everything, not me. You guys did this on your own accountability, and you've gone too far. They downgraded me in front of my child and allowed me to question myself as a mother. You sat there and told me how my child was going to be. And then you wrapped your hands around her while I sat across the table and cried. Because you thought you could be there better than I, and I never got a chance. She was scared to even say anything. Your guys' voice were heard, not hers. If you get my drift, I keep saying you, okay? You. You have caused hardships in my family, division. I don't care. Meet me outside, then meet me outside. I'll finish.
Next. Next. Just want to remind folks, freedom of speech is sacrosanct, no matter what they have to say. We're going to continue with Lisa Cisneros, followed by Mark Gomez.
Hello, I am Lisa Cisneros, and I'm a Spreckels School alum, 8th grade class of 1993. Go Pirates! I even remember winning a basketball championship in this gymnasium. I'm also a parent and a person who holds dear this community where my mother still lives, and I'm deeply concerned about the turmoil threatening to overtake this special community and a special important student club, the UBU Club. The district and our community must not react rashly to a fear-mongering, divisive online article, a blog post. A close examination of all the relevant facts is needed before a student club and teaching careers are tossed by the wayside. There have always been gay and transgender kids in this community. Plenty of us LGBT kids grew up in Spreckels and off of River Road. A CTA conference and a teacher has nothing to do with that reality. Clubs like UBU provide a safe space for kids who are feeling different and want to know that they are not alone. These clubs are also spaces for students who want to show their support for LGBT classmates or LGBT family members. One day in the future, my kids might wish to join a group like UBU. My oldest child has complained about having to explain to her classmates repeatedly that she has two mothers rather than a father. I appreciate the support of a school and trusted teachers who share the existence of LGBT families and provide the respectful vocabulary for families to be recognized and included as part of the school community. My child and others like her will learn better and thrive when her family isn't treated like a taboo topic or strictly treated like a mental health issue. This is a school environment issue as well. We know that there are LGBT parents in this district. Many of us recognize that we were different in middle school, even if we did not feel safe to discuss it with the world. Kids have crushes in middle school, and it isn't rocket science or a conspiracy that some kids understand their LGBT identity at that age. Our public schools are responsible for teaching all students, providing a safe and supportive learning environment, just as they are responsible for keeping parents informed and abiding their rights and the rights of educators as they exist under current law. I urge the superintendent and the trustees to act on behalf of our students with the utmost attention to a careful analysis of the facts, including the needs of LGBT kids and LGBT families. Thank you.
Next, we have Mark Gomez, followed by Rob Darrow.
Good evening. I come today to show my support for my colleagues and the students of the Spreckels School District. I come as an educator and a parent. Through these roles, I've learned and taught about some of the laws that protect California students, in particular LGBTQ youth. Many of these laws in California developed because of tragic situations where students took their own lives or were killed by others, or because of lawsuits brought forth against school districts that ignored the harassing and discriminatory behavior of LGBTQ youth. First, the federal law passed in 2010, known as the Equal Access Act, makes it clear that schools may not deny access to any student group because of the religious, political, philosophical, or other content of the speech at the group's meeting. Therefore, it's important that the UBU Club at Buena Vista be reinstated and allowed to continue providing a safe space for these students. State law makes it clear that there are areas and topics of discussion that need parent permission and that there are those that don't. State law does not require parents to give written permission for club membership. Students, while at school, have the right to privacy related to school records and teachers not outing students to others at the school or their other entities. The California State Legislature passed AB 1266, also known as the School Success and Opportunities Act, in 2013 that ensures students be permitted to participate in sex-segregated school programs, activities, and use facilities consistent with their gender identities without respect to the gender listed on their records. It's also interesting to note that there were state laws passed prior to that in 2013. In 2000, the California Student Safety and Violence Protection Act, which was referred to earlier. 2007, Safe Place to Learn and Act. The 2011 Fair Education Act, where history instruction must include discussions of LGBTQ Americans, which have always been in our society. And the CDE has updated the history social science framework to include that teaching of LGBTQ history in all history courses, as well as the health framework that includes topics of gender identity. Both of these documents are shaping school district policies. So, because they shape the district's policies here, I wonder how the district is being intentional about implementing them in practice. You've heard from folks who have offered to help you in all of this. I think in this moment of history within these contexts, does the Spreckels School District want the record to show that it took actions to expand support of these students or to restrict access for its most vulnerable student populations in accordance with state and federal law? I and others are urging you to choose the former. I appreciate the time. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Rob Darrow, followed by Sochi Castellanos. I think it's Sochi.
Members of the board, good evening. My name is Rob Darrow. I'm a lecturer professor at CSU Monterey Bay. I have the honor of teaching many of the outstanding teachers who end up getting jobs in your school district. I also work as a director of research and professional learning for the Safe Schools Project in Santa Cruz County. We partner with schools and school districts to help our schools to become more safe and inclusive, especially for LGBTQ plus students. I want to commend you for the work you've done in your district. We all know that students do better in school when they feel safe in their schools. I've also had the good fortune of presenting at the CTA LGBTQ plus Issues Conference along with Lori Caldera and Kelly Baraki. We actually co-presented several times over the past 5 years. Lori and Kelly often would brag about the stellar school district that you all have here and with the work, and they were proud of the equity work that you've all done. They'd also talk about their students and how great their colleagues were as well. You know, the audience at the CTA conferences are teachers, so we always knew we were presenting to teachers. I know that having been an educator for over 40 years and presenting at lots of conferences that, you know, there were times where I'd go a little off script and maybe make comments that I later regretted or that people misunderstood. I know that that has happened to me. But for me and for most other educators, we've not had our conversations or presentations recorded without our permission and then taken out of context by some news media. Most of us have not had our names printed on flyers and passed out at our schools. Most of us have not been placed on administrative leave because of some offhanded comments. Most of us have not been targeted by a larger statewide organization that is not happy with the state laws, such as the Fair Education Act and the California Healthy Youth Act. And most of us have not had death threats or hate mail sent to us because of our experiences. As you work through this experiences as this situation in your school district, know that you're not alone. Many of us are here tonight to support the ongoing work to continue to make your schools more safe and inclusive. Know that what you do will impact students, teachers, schools, and school districts beyond your borders and beyond your school district. We look forward to partnering with you on your journey. Thank you.
Sochi Castellanos. Last one.
I'd just like to read a post. Wrong, and you're the liar. These perverts are wasting no time recruiting children into their wrapped for perverted world. However, there is an easy solution to this problem that will stop it in its tracks. It's called a bullet. Like many of these parents, I am also very upset. I have known Ms. Caldera for many years now, and let me tell you something. Going to Buena Vista Middle School as one of the only Mexican students, it was hard in itself. For the first month, the first question was, were you born here? Later on, I struggled finding who I was in this world where my context was just different. However, to me, middle school were one of the best years of my life because I had amazing teachers who not only taught me science, who did not teach me not only taught me literature, but they also taught me how to have compassion, how to have love, how to be myself. I did not join the Equity Club. However, I did join a few of the clubs from Ms. Baraki and Ms. Caldera. To me, Ms. Baraki and Ms. Caldera were my mentors. They taught me how to have a voice. Ms. Caldera would tell me, it's okay, you can mess up. It's okay, you can be nervous. But you know what? You are perfect just the way you are. Today, I know who I am. Thanks to Ms. Caldera, she was an inspiration to me. Today, I get to go to UCLA and study what I like to do. Today, I get to be who I want to be because I had amazing teachers who not only taught me what it is to be a good human, but they taught me how to love myself. I am really, frankly, disgusted because I have gone to so many conferences where there's the state legislatures, they're like, oh, congratulations. You're such a great student. Mr. Tarala, you have been there congratulating me of how excellent of a Buena Vista Middle School student I was. And you know who made me that excellent student? Ms. Caldera and Ms. Baraki, because those were my teachers. Today, I would like to thank them for their service, for their dedication, for their love. And I am sorry because they had to go through all of this. I am sorry because today this is a community that we live in, a community that has so much hatred and so much anger. So please, do what's right. Stand by your teachers and your students. Thank you.
That concludes public comment. Future agenda items. We must have a date for the next meeting. Is that the 4th or something? What is that? 6th? Okay. All right.
January 6th at 7 o'clock?
We're going to have it here.
Yes.
Board members? Ma'am? Ma'am, we're still conducting a meeting. Any future agenda items you'd like to add?
No.
Okay. I'd love to entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 401. We are adjourned.
It was Chris called. Did you second?
7:42
no,
p.m.
Chris called. Sorry, that's right. Chris did it.
Yeah, Chris motioned to adjourn. Thanks.